What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the data points and just some expectations for tomorrow. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound had a pretty lackluster day. Did close 0.87% in the green, so nothing overly special during the trading day as well. So 26.4 million shares being traded, 38.9 is the average. But what came out after hours is going to change everything, at least in the short term. So in case you did not know, Nvidia did put out their earnings and there was a lot of importance. Pretty much, might be a little bit exaggerating, but the whole market was on Nvidia's shoulders. And this isn't kind of the first time this has happened, but there was two big things and events today. And so we had the FOMC minutes. Unfortunately, that didn't really signal anything positive. It kind of signaled that the Feds had no idea what the hell to do last meeting, as well as most likely for the upcoming December meeting. This is why you did see the likelihood of a cut for the upcoming December 10th meeting go down to 32.5. So it is fair to assume that's kind of off the table. So the market was pretty much just like, okay, what is next? So in general, there was an incredible amount of importance being placed and pressure on Nvidia's earnings, and they luckily enough hit a home run earnings. So that is going to cause a certain level of FOMO in the broader market. So I want to go over some expectations and kind of some levels to watch for, but ultimately, SoundHound didn't put out any news, no SEC filings or anything. Even on social media, they've been relatively quiet. So they kind of posted this on the 18th, and then this was the 14th. And in my opinion, as I've already mentioned, I didn't really see this being that special. I did listen in, and the relevance for SoundHound investors is like not really. You get maybe 30 seconds of utility, and that's for the most part it. But after hours, so quickly popping over here, so you do see after hours it is up 7.91% during the overnight trading. So in general, I've done a couple of SoundHound videos, mentioned how based on the technicals it's really breaking down. It's not the only stock that's happening. It's like a lot of growth stocks are going through the same type of price action, but in SoundHound's case, it recently did break below that 200-day moving average, and essentially that was kind of a death sentence. Luckily enough, it was actually holding very, very close by. I did take advantage. I bought the dip with SoundHound, even though it was could have easily gone down a lot more. But with Nvidia's earnings, it is going to not only get it above that 200, but most likely even test that 10-day moving average. And that 10-day moving average is a very big deal for just momentum. So you're going to see the dynamic change across the board. And most likely as well, at the same time, you are going to have a certain level of profit taking. So you're going to have a lot of volatility as per usual. But I do feel based on Nvidia's earnings, it kind of gave the middle finger to the bears, and because there's a lot of people waiting on the sidelines kind of calling everything a bubble, a AI bubble, and their earnings it's pretty much saying F you to that. So that's going to be a pretty good positive, pushing a lot of tech and AI higher. At the same time, matching with the recent news about the Saudis investing now $1 trillion instead of the $600 billion in AI, that is just going to come together perfectly. So you're going to see a lot of analysts piecing those two things together and really just pushing everything higher. So SoundHound, in my opinion, is going to be closing above that 10-day moving average. So if you're into swing trading, that might be a good opportunity for you. Or generally, if you are a long-term investor, right now, if you have access to overnight trading, might potentially be a good opportunity to buy. But aside from all that fun stuff, if you're wanting to, let's say, kind of watch for some support and resistance points, looking at the one-day chart with it at 1163, it is currently trading below this S3. So 1203, which as of right now, it is trading above. That's going to be a good support level. Essentially, 1450, it's going to be the next strong target. So you could see most likely over the next couple of trading days that 1450 being hit. we also do have Walmart's earnings coming out Thursday morning. I know a lot of people might not really care about Walmart, which is completely fair, but what they give for future guidance and what they signal for consumers, the market listens to that. And they have a pretty good touch of what consumers are doing, what they're spending, how tariffs are impacting their business. Because even in SoundHound's case, they've mentioned in previous earnings that tariffs are affecting their customers, and through that, it's affecting them. So in general, Walmart as well could really kind of cause some volatility from the consumer side. But in my opinion, especially based on what Target gave for guidance and how they didn't really signal any fear coming from consumers, I do feel like the market is just going to go full on head forward, head down, and just completely move higher. So don't be surprised if SoundHound does get very close to this $14 range, but no matter what, that's going to be a target over the next couple of trading days. So again, whether you are a day trader, swing trader, or whatever else, just kind of watch for these. If you are more into kind of just day-to-day type of stuff, just watch for a lot of these. So 1220, 1190 as support levels, and then 1298 being the next strong target / resistance. While I'm on here, and I just want to say my apologies on the timeliness of this video. I always like to put out videos a little bit earlier in the day, but today was a busy day. But nonetheless, shorts did increase today during the trading day, 352,000 shares. So they're kind of stuck in a little bit more of a bind, most likely. And one thing that they've been doing, surprisingly enough, has been really returning a lot of stock. So it is fair to assume that those that did get in today, they're going to pretty much panic sell. And so I think in general, over the next quarter, we will be at the low 20s. So right now, 28.03% of the free float is being shorted. So as I mentioned, I feel that they will be slowly returning over the next little bit. And that, in my opinion, it's going to be a pretty good thing. 106.18 million shares overall are being shorted, and then cost to borrow average is 2.09%. Short score is 68.49, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. Looking at the options, we did have 5.6 million in calls, 12 million in puts, and then 85% of all the options being done were bearish in nature, and most of that was this right here. So 13.5 million that was done between 235 and 240. So this is kind of the comical side of doing options, is that someone, and obviously that's not retail because that's 13.5 million in that 5-minute span, someone really bet a lot of money that most likely Nvidia was going to flop on their earnings. So it is rather comical. So someone just lost a lot of money. So don't bet against Nvidia. That's, I think, one of the main rules out there. But again, sometimes there's winners and losers, and that's the fun side of doing options. But again, when it comes to options, as I always mention, like, you need to have commitment, and you need to actually not just speculate so much, because there's a fine line when it comes down to options, when you're actually doing like investing or gambling. So it's kind of a fine line. So definitely take the time and research options if you haven't already, but definitely good to see bears losing a lot of money. So let me know your viewpoint on that. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around $14, which, as I mentioned, most likely is going to be on the table. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub, kind of, the consensus is 14, but you see a couple pockets around 11. So in my opinion, they were kind of uncertain on what was going to be coming, but still $14 does seem to be that key point. You'll see a lot of big transactions being done after hours. So 11.2, 2.8, 1.7. So a lot of big money getting into SoundHound. And then even on the dark pool, this one was done after hours. That's the largest one, and that was 2.7 million. So all in all, tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day, very positive day for SoundHound and for the broader market. And I think the market really did need this earnings to come out how it did, because if it didn't, like, it could have easily gone down. And this is something as well I even posted on my Patreon saying, hey, you know what? I do believe that Nvidia is going to have pretty good earnings and really move higher, but how Wall Street is going to interpret them, that's going to be kind of, it could go either way, right? Because we saw Palantir, we saw Robinhood recently, both hit home run earnings, but the market decided based on their multiple it was too high and that things were gonna drag it and the market down. So I think a similar type of thing could have happened easily with Nvidia, but luckily enough, they hit home run earnings. And I think given just the timing as well with the Saudi news, it worked out perfectly. So let me know your viewpoint. Are you buying more? Are you selling? Are you going to be doing some covered calls? What are you doing with SoundHound? One final thing, pop over to my Stacked account. Just did a promotion where it is $1 a month, and this is for Black Friday. I am only going to be doing 100 members and it just jumped up like crazy. So right now I have around 85. So if you want to get in, sign up ASAP, because like I said, it's going to be max 100, and I'm going to be doing daily day trades, numerous swing trades. So definitely worthwhile to sign up for that. Link in the description below and also the comments. But with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.